Hello, and welcome to Mean Reviews, No Stars Given, the show where indie authors and filmmakers agree to have their work reviewed, knowing full well that they won't receive even 1 star. Such optimism, ladies and gentlemen. But my guest co host this week is the amazing author, Bob McGough.
Hey, y'all.
Welcome. Now,
Yeah, it's
before
great to
we,
be here again.
it is wonderful to have you back. It's an honor, especially because, as I'm sure everyone knows, you're engaged and will be married within a month, so this must be a crazy time for you.
Yeah, I've got my fiance to work in the other room, got her tiny little hands building decorations as we speak. So, yeah.
Are you participating in the wedding preparations or are you just showing up?
Yes, my tiny little hands will be put to work whenever I leave this room.
Well, then we'll try and keep it a long show
Thank you.
to protect your hands, your dainty hands. Um, Now, before we get into the first review, just a quick reminder about the comments. We welcome and value to some extent every single comment, but we'll only be looking at the comments after each review is completed. So a little context would be helpful, uh, just so I don't look so dumb when I'm trying to remember what they are. But all right, thank you. Um, oh, our first book to review is Game of War: The Trials of Dantes, Warrior Priest: The Chronicles of Chaos, Book One by Glenn Dahlgren. It's a fantasy novel, and I'll just read the blurb. Never meet your heroes, especially if they're dead. Dantes wants to follow in the footsteps of his dead grandfather, a legendary priest of war, but his father forbids it. In fact, his father's hatred of war lands him in a cell within the god's temple. The only way to free him is from the inside, so Dantes must choose: let his father die, or defy his upbringing, become a priest, and win his father's freedom in the temple's deadly game of war. Torn between the legacies of his father and grandfather, Dantes finds that both paths hide secrets that threaten to destroy everything he cares about, including his sanity. Do you have anything to add to the blurb, Bob?
No, I think that kind of pretty well
That's
sums it
good.
up.
That's a good
Yeah,
blurb.
yeah, good blurb.
Doesn't give a ton away, but but captures the flavor of the. All right.
Yeah,
So
haven't
let's
haven't read the book, can attest. Blurb is on point.
agreed. Agreed. Sadly, the review will not just be based on the blurb. So let's get right into the things that we like. Now, I like happiness, a little light in the hero's life, maybe a little romance. I don't know, something nice happening to the protagonist. There's very little of that in this book, even in my own crap life over the last couple of years, dealing with my mom's Alzheimer's and everything else. There were things to enjoy. My garden, of course, which is sadly still covered by over a foot of snow and ice. Uh, hey, Bob,
Yeah,
will winter never end?
uh,
Because
I
it
just
feels like it for me.
I'm amazed that we made it 3 minutes into this before you mentioned your garden.
That's right.
you
It
know,
should be called Gardening and Mean Reviews. Maybe I'm
yeah,
going to retitle all the shows I'm on. Um,
garden talk with Braun.
my my chickens and my goats also brought me some joy during these tough times. Oh, and Misty, my my Labrador, my awesome Labrador. She's the best. She always brings a smile to my face and happiness to my heart. My wife has been incredible, uh, and the chance to spend a lot of time with my dad has also been amazing. I mean, it's very different to, well, of course, as a teenager, I thought he was an idiot, you know, uh, didn't want to learn anything he had to teach. And now, as an adult, it's so different to visit and then to live with them. I mean, we are really hanging out a lot, spending a lot of time. I've learned a ton from him. That's been awesome. I mean, definitely a silver lining during this, you know, these kind of tragic times with my mom. But let alone uh, all the wonderful authors I've met, like you, Bob. I mean, I've become friends with too many to name. I've also made some enemies.
I mean, it's you know. Oh,
International sex
oh.
symbol and author David Green comes to mind.
To be fair, I think we all loathe and are intensely jealous of his physique.
Yeah, yeah, and the fake contacts he wears to get those beautiful eyes.
Mm.
I mean, I assume that's what it is. Uh, but during the process of reading and savagely reviewing all these books, I have met tons of authors, and that has been really great. Um, in fact, it's been a delight. But my advice to the author, to Glenn, is a little more rainbows and butterflies in the rest of the series. I mean, pretty please. So because of that, I give Game of War 0 out of 5.5 Care Bears that relate to happiness. But what about you, Bob? What do you
So,
like?
so I love woodland creatures, um,
That's true.
badgers, squirrels, the odd mink, a ferret. I mean, you name it. If it is a tiny little woodland creature, I'm all in. If you want to sell me something, put a woodland creature in your commercial. I will. I've never in my life owned an actual GPS, but a few years ago, Garmin released a Christmas commercial with a squirrel playing a mandolin, and they basically had to physically restrain me to keep me from going out and buying a Garmin GPS, which seeing as now every phone is essentially GPS was smart.
Yeah,
Um,
actually pandered.
but I just gotta say I I've read this book and I don't recall even one woodland creature in it, and I just think that's a real missed opportunity because with the I don't want to call it the magic system, but with the whole memory fighting system here, like there had to be some just really good like squirrel flying kicks somewhere that could have been implemented. I just think it was a miss. I think it was a missed opportunity. That's what I'm
No,
trying to
I
say.
yeah, I agree. I think you nailed it.
Yeah.
Um, let's move on to what we don't like. I don't like origin stories, and I mean maybe I should say that I'm just a little tired of them after all the superhero movies of the last few decades. I mean, even Marvel has figured out that it's overdone, and they're just skipping the origin stories and getting right into the meat of things. And of course, for me personally, my dislike of children and teenagers only augments my dislike of origin stories because they usually entail a child or a teenager starting their path to greatness. So I guess what I'm saying is if you have to have an origin story, at least have the protagonist be middle aged. If you're older than a teenager, you have probably noticed, well, I mean, really, you must have noticed how awful they all are. Uh, the older I get, the worse they seem. And if you are a teenager, you probably think I'm wrong or that I'm exaggerating, but soon enough, you will be terribly embarrassed by everything about yourself from your teenager days. It happens to all of us. But luckily, now that this first book of the series is over, Dantes is older, and he should presumably be a lot less teenagery, so I'll be able to like him more. Um, of course, if you're some kind of weirdo that likes young people, like a pedophile, for example, you'll probably love this book. So have at it. Uh, for me, I'm giving Game of War 0 out of 347 grown-up protagonists. Bob, but what don't you like?
So there were two things that I found particularly loathsome about this. Um, First was I'm we were talking about this before we came on there. Like I'm a busy guy. Even when I'm not preparing for a wedding, I stay pretty busy. I run a nonprofit. I'm an author. I have a day job. Um, there's a lot. I have a lot going on. So I like being able to, when my author friends are like, "Hey, could you read my book?" I like being able to just skim read the book, and so I can go back to, "Oh yeah, I read that. It was great. It was fantastic. I loved it. It was so good." Um, so I hate books that actually make me pay attention. That kind of suck you in and make you want to read them, not just tick a box saying that you read it. Like that, I hate that. And this book was chock full of
Disgusting.
that. I found myself actually getting really into it and having to pay attention because I wanted to know what was going to happen next. And I thought that was for a busy guy like me, that was awful, just awful.
Infuriating. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bunch of bullshit.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. The other thing was, over my life, I've accumulated a number of useless degrees. Arguably, the most useless was my anthropology degree. And so, most fantasy novels that I read are very comforting because they basically just rip off real world mythology for their, like, oh, we're coming up with this totally new, totally creative fantasy world, and we're just going to rip off the Greek, pantheon as our faith. And that's comforting for someone like me, anthropology background. It's refreshing, and it feels so homey. So when I come across a fantasy book that actually is creative with its pantheon, um, I don't know. It just doesn't ring true to me. It doesn't give me that homey feel that I'm looking for. So rich, creative mythologies just mm,
Yeah.
did not enjoy.
A swing and a miss. Yeah. No, I get it. All right. Um, it is now time for things we can talk about that we liked without spoiling the plot. Um, would you care to go first, Bob?
Sure. Um, I have made um, a lot of dumb decisions in my life. I like to think over the past couple years, I, I am slowly getting on the right track. Delightful fiance in the other room being the number one indicator of that. But I just loved how much that Dantis just consistently makes the wrong decision. Like that that resonated with me on such a fundamental level. There's so many characters that they make the right choice. And as someone who very rarely does that, it was nice to see a hero that screws up so consistently, but still manages to be the hero. And I don't know, I love that so much. Oh God, yeah, it made me a little introspective on my own life on why I love that so much. But yeah, it was great to see in the printed page.
Nice. Well, I liked all of the family stuff. I mean, I can't go to a lot of detail, without ruining some plot points. But
Yeah,
the father-son relationship is just delightfully detailed and changes quite believably as Dantis is growing up. Um, and the history of his grandfather looming over everything is uh, awesome. I mean, all in all, the everything about Dantis growing up and learning how much he didn't understand is done very well. And I love teenagers realizing how wrong they've been. I mean, everybody loves that, right? I mean,
yeah.
that that's just
It's like kids falling off bikes. I literally cannot get enough of that. Like
ah,
I will watch those videos all day.
I
Uh,
believe you. I
yeah,
mean, but that,
no, it's great.
in the South, it's hard to find entertainment, as I understand.
It really is. It's mostly just watching woodland creatures,
Having
or knocking people
having
off their bikes.
having read your books, which take place in the Deep South, that was the sense I got from them. That's the research I did, was reading your books. But
Yeah, those were less fantasy and more autobiography. So
oh no, that's terrifying. To anybody who's read your books, that's terrifying. But um, now comes the actual awarding of less than a full star to the book. I give Game of War: The Trials of Dantis, Warrior Priest, The Chronicles of Chaos, Book One by Glenn Dahlgren, 1/4 of a star due to the lack of happy things and it being an origin story featuring a teenager of all things. What portion of a star do you give it, Bob?
I give it 1/8 of a Dahlgren and Barrett. So
Oh, that's great.
you can't take that laugh back, Ron. I heard it.
Yeah, well, I'm a fan. I like your puns, your daily puns.
Yeah.
I'm a fan, a reluctant fan, but a fan. And oh yeah, and please like and subscribe. Subscribe to the Goni Now channel, and please like this episode of this show. Um, but let's check the comments. There's a ton of them. Let's see if there's
There
any
are.
good ones. Oh,
The only one that you need to read is the fact that they like my pun.
oh, good. Well, don't spoil it because there's a long list to get through. First of all, this is Joe's comment, Joe Compton's comment every time. Go to Facebook and send a star to let the hosts and producers know how much you appreciate what we do here at Go Indie Now. And of course, every time you contribute, you get entered into our season prize package drawing with gift cards, swag, and more. And then we get a hello, we get a congratulations to you for your nuptials, I presume.
Yeah.
Not just being on the show, although congratulations for that too. Um, Glenn is here. He's so brave. Good for him. Glenn is saying that he is awesome. No, I don't know what that. I don't know what it's referring to. But Nikki, hello. Oh my gosh, both authors here. That might be a record. Um, yeah, okay. Nikki has pointed out a tremendous lie I told that I like happiness. It's all for the show. The show is not necessarily full of honesty, just like all of my shows and really all of my life. So, but you caught me. I would. All right. Anita makes a great point here. Down with happy heroes, bring on the darkness, but something happy could happen to him. I mean, that's all I'm saying. Um, ugh, yeah, I got a lot
Look right
of.
there, a delightful woodland creature.
Yeah, that is true. And uh, yeah, I can't talk about winter anymore right now. We've got 8 inches of snow in the last few days, and it's awful. It's really affected moving. That's funny because I've considered it just because of how things have been lately. And Lily, that's very kind, but that's not going to save your book review. I mean, rainbows and butterflies are the best. I imagine David Green, who Nikki is a fan of for some reason, has butterfly and rainbow tattoos all over.
No accounting for taste.
No, no. Child of Chaos has a teeny bit of happiness. Well, then I'll read that. Uh, all right. Um, Glenn has no Care Bears to spare. He's a tough guy. He's very macho. Hello, Nikki. No Care Bears to spare. That'd make a great shirt.
It
I
would.
mean, somebody should make that. We're supposed to get a Go Indie Now storefront, and I would suggest that be a shirt that we sell there.
There we go.
Um,
Ooh, speaking my language.
this
Yep.
is speaking your language.
Yes, it
Meth
is.
dogs, woodland
Mm-hmm.
creatures come at the Bob. Nice.
Yeah.
Context and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I did hear that because the Cocaine Bear. Yeah, it's going to be the spoof of Cocaine Bear is Meth Gator, which I'm pretty sure actually also happened. Uh, so I'm really looking forward. I'm looking forward to Cocaine Bear. I want to see both. So
If I had to eat a Care Bear, I would want the heart. There is a horse. Is it a woodland horse? Oh my gosh, we got a lot talking about the horse. LSD horse, flying kick horse. Yeah, there is. I find this hard to believe, just because of teenagers. Yeah, I hated other teenagers when I was I've always hated them.
teenagers are German sausages. They are the worst.
Nice. This is why we keep inviting you back.
I knew there had to be
That
some
brilliance. That brilliance. Yeah. Nope. Nikki Nelson Hicks was right. Yeah. I'm not going to say it, but I thought of something really mean to say about it. But I haven't read Nikki's book yet, so I can't say it. So oh, by the way, Nikki, I got the books you sent me to be reviewed. Very excited to read them. I haven't got there yet. Well, Glenn, you should either release another edition of this book or make sure that the sequels, address all of our concerns. Yeah, less engaging, more happiness, completely different books. Yeah, no, Nikki got it. I like that. It made it easy to remember who they were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually a big plus. I hate gods with 87 syllable names that I can never remember.
Yeah, that
Not
can
talking
be
about the
rough.
Goblin Emperor, but
Well, if I said something nice, I misspoke. Oh, that's nice.
good.
That's what we want to hear. People people believing what we wrote or said so much that they want to read it to experience all the things we've described. Um, oh, we'll get to your book in just a moment. Um, Puns burn.
Mm.
They're great. Daniel, hello. Yeah, see, Joe has read two of your four books. I've read all four of them, and yeah, everybody should read them because then you'll understand just how terrifying what that comment was. Glenn is terrible to his protagonists, but yeah, Nikki's got a point. I mean, they they know what they're signing up for. I mean, otherwise, that would be a tough thing. That is a great point. Maybe Joe will tell us in more detail how to send stars. All right. Well, that is a great point. I should have made that point. Good work, Nikki. Um, oh, nice.
Yeah. Mm.
Good. That's reassuring, I would say.
Hmm. I only have room in my heart for one nemesis, and that will forever be Maddie. But if I had room in my heart for two nemesis, David Green would be in there.
Yeah, you said he was kind of a junior nemesis. I mean, you need to expand
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
repertoire of
My pantheon of
nemesis.
nemesis.
Yeah, however that works. Yeah. All right. Oops, I forgot to get rid of the last one. Um, all right. Let's move on to getting to. Oh yeah. Thank you for your comments, and please keep them coming. uh, we'll check back in before the end of the show. But now, let's take this opportunity to get to know Bob a tiny bit better. Bob, please tell us about yourself and your writing.
Yeah, no, I am a author from South Central Alabama, the backwoods, uh, and I write a series about a redneck wizard with a crippling meth addiction. It's the Jubal County Saga. Book 5 actually comes out in 15 days.
Before the
Ooh.
wedding?
Yeah, so my
Oh,
main character, his name is Howard Marsh, and I've decided that every March 15th, a new book will come out. It's going to be The Ides of Marsh.
oh brilliant.
Mm. Yeah, and you can find everything I do. I do just a ton of stuff, too much to list, but you can find it all at tellsbybob.com.
Nice. That's very nice. Um, and I'm Ron Lahr. I mostly plow and shovel snow this week, but I also cook and bake. I garden. I tend to our animals, and I write. I write epic fantasy, like my Cathaldi Chronicles trilogy, and I write humorous science fiction, like You Get What You Steal, which I do love that title. Uh, and I came up with it. So it's really modest of myself to say. Um, I wrote that with my friend Robin Burchett, the co-host of Indie Mayhem. I also write serious self-help books like You're as Stupid as You Are Fat, How to Talk to Women. Um, all of my books are available on Amazon. Please do yourself a favor and buy them all, multiple copies if possible. Uh, all right, it is time now for book 2, Never Again. Let me bring up the picture of it. Uh, Never Again. Excuse me, a World War II paranormal detective spin-off by Lily Lucchese. Here's the blurb. Soldier, rock star, demon hunter. Male siren Sean Wireman was ostracized from his small village in Israel in the 16th century, forced to wander the world until he settled in America in the 1920s. Since he doesn't age like a normal person, he was fit to fight in World War II to defend the heritage he spent his whole life running from. 70 years later, after he has lived a whole other life since Hitler was defeated, from attending law school to becoming a bona fide rock star, the demons that the Nazis released upon the Jews in concentration camps have returned, and he is the only one who can destroy them. But can he save his people once again, or will this fight take a deadly toll? Do you have anything to add to the blurb, Bob?
No, but again, having read the book, can say blurb very on point. Uh,
I agree.
I liked it.
Good blurb. All right,
Mhm.
let's jump right into our likes. I like sustainability. I grow as much of my own food as possible. Some,
Do you
vegetables,
do you grow snow?
fruit. I encounter snow. I don't grow it. I don't encourage it. But I grow vegetables, fruit, even herbs. Every year I grow more and more food. And as you all probably know, if you grow your own food, it doesn't take fossil fuels to transport it. So you're helping save the world in multiple ways. I use the poop from my chickens and goats to make compost to replenish the soil. Boom! More world saving. All these ways of saving the earth, or all of these are ways of saving the earth in a sustainable fashion. Lily, the author here, has crafted a fine story about saving the world through violence. But I want some stories about saving the world without violence, one carrot and hot pepper at a time. Will these be boring stories? Hopefully not. It's all up to the authors. But surely, as talented a writer as Lily is, can make gardening and composting every bit as exciting as killing Nazis and demons. I mean, right? Now, maybe since Sean is a siren and he doesn't live off of food, he has somewhat of an excuse, but he could have raised some really dumb people to eat, right? I mean, isn't that better somehow?
There you go.
Regardless. Yeah, it seems like it. Regardless, since I have to rate the book that Lily actually wrote instead of the one I imagine that is being planned and outlined as we speak, since Lily has no doubt been inspired by my words, I must unfortunately give Never Again only 0 out of 100,000 ways to save the planet. Bob, what do you like?
So this may be a real shock. Um, I know the beard hides the multiple chins, but I'm a portly lad, um, and so a lot of my loves are food based, and I love anything fried really, but I especially love fried calamari.
Mm.
If I could pick two foods to eat for the rest of my life, it would probably be garlic bread and fried calamari.
Ooh, good
So
choices.
yeah, no, love fried calamari. And,
Mm.
uh, you know, I just have to think that if you were to cook, cooking seafood, if you were to make a male siren into calamari, I feel like it would make terrible calamari. I don't even want to think about what part of a male siren you would attempt to turn in to calamari, fried or no.
Now we're all
Um,
thinking about
yeah, well, you're welcome.
it.
So uh, I just have to say that if there ever comes a cookbook companion to this, perhaps work in a nice fried calamari recipe. You got the seafood connection. Seems like a natural choice.
Smart.
Um, so there you go. That is what I love and was sadly lacking from this book.
That is a great point. I had not considered that. But let's move on to what we don't like. And what I don't like are murderers, and in particular, serial killers. Now, Lily did a great job of making the hero serial killer likable. And I could admit that Sean is my favorite serial killer, but I still can't endorse serial killing as a rule, no matter how talented the serial killer is as a musician. I personally believe that even if you are famous, you shouldn't get a pass on murdering people, even if you only do it to people that aren't famous. Maybe, and this is a big maybe 1 or 2 murders, but that is it. Now, maybe that's just me because I get that our society is obsessed with celebrities and all that, but I am taking a firm stand on this. Down with serial killers, I say. That means Never Again gets 0 out of 36 non-serial killers from me. Bob, what don't you like?
So I know I don't quite look it in my nice little work shirt and whatnot, but I am a old school metalhead and have been since I was gifted a copy of the Black Album back decades ago now, and this novel has tons of great references to Iron Maiden, literally goes to a Metallica concert.
Oh, yeah.
But the thing about metalheads is they're notoriously snobbish. And there's a whole bunch of elitism in the heavy metal scene. And so I'm going to play that card and say that I hated the fact that the greatest band to ever grace the planet, which is not the Bee Gees, Ron. It is if I can remember
Oh,
what card
my.
it was, Typo Negative, who I literally have tattooed on my body.
Oh,
They're the Drab Four, greatest band to ever exist, and they did not feature in this book, not even one time. So I think that was a real missed opportunity. Um, and even though I loved literally every other band that was mentioned, just got to say I'm docking points for the
all
lack
right.
of Typo Negative.
I have two comments about that. One is, even though you disparaged them, the Bee Gees also weren't in this book, um, which was upsetting. And then two, I agree. When people think of metalheads, they think, snobs. That's what they think.
Oh,
Pretentious
Ron. Oh, you sweet
metalheads.
summer child.
So
It's brutally savage in the metal scene. You
I
like
believe it.
one band, and you're just talked down to for the rest of your life.
It's the same way in the opera scene where I live. Uh, all right, let's move on to things we can talk about that we liked without spoiling the plot. And of course, we have this segment because people said we didn't say enough things nice about the books. Which, knowing the show is called Mean Reviews, No Stars Given, that naturally means there should be a bunch of nice things said. So this is us catering to the audience. Um, Bob, would you care to go first?
Sure. I had two things. First, uh, so uh, I've worked with a lot of bands over the years. I've done press work for them. I've roadied for a few bands, and so I've been backstage a lot over the years. And not one time has a attractive groupie come from the crowd and approached me to ask for my number, shall we say? Um, so it was nice to read, to one kind of have a book that features, the metal scene that I know and love, but also to see someone get to hook up with a groupie, even if she is not your typical groupie, shall we say. That was a little bit of wish fulfillment that I got to enjoy. The other part was so the beginning of this book is in Israel. I've been to Israel. I was 8 or 9 years old. We visited for about a week. I can remember two things from my visit to Israel. One, my father was a big picture taker, and while we were at the Wailing Wall, he pointed to it and told me to go touch it so he could take a picture. And I thought he said lick it, so I have licked the Wailing Wall. Um, and the other thing I remember was we went to Masada, which is, for those who don't know, is a site where a bunch of Jewish rebels committed mass suicide. Um, and it was miserable. It was hot. It was the sun was out. I'm a portly, fat 8-year-old child who sunburns easily. It was literal hell. So I could really relate to being miserable in Israel, much like Sean was. So I love that as well. I could really reminisce on terrible times had in Israel.
Both classy things to like. That's nice. Well, for me, mostly I liked all the fighting and killing of Nazis and their demons, because even though I'm half German, I'm still not a fan of Nazis, neither of the classic or neo variety. They are all bad in my opinion. I was going to say in my book, they're all bad in my book, but I haven't yet written a book with any Nazis in it. I probably should, and you can rest assured that they will be the bad guys if I ever do, and there will be lots of Nazi killing in it
do you,
and
do
gardening.
you do you know how Hitler ties his shoes
No,
into little Nazis?
feel like I should have been able to guess if it hadn't been so much pressure. If I had a little more time. Uh, but but I will say, well, there will be Nazi killing and gardening in my book. There'll probably be more gardening than Nazi killing. I mean, that's just the way it seems to be moving.
Is
But
that your next self-help book? Is gardening with Ron, and in parentheses also Nazi killing?
I'm not prepared to make any announcements today. I have a lot of projects in the work, but it is ratings time. I give Never Again, a World War II paranormal detective spin-off by Lily Luke Casey, 1/3 of a star due to featuring a serial killer protagonist who, although likable, cares more about making music than growing food. Better luck next book, Lily. Bob, what portion of a
Uh,
star do you give it?
I give it 1/32nd metallic ants.
Ha!
And
Nice. Excuse me. I like that very much.
there
All
you
right, let's
go.
look at the comments again. Oh, there's a ton again. This is the, well, whew. All right. All right,
There,
here we are. Um, this is for you, Bob.
hey,
That's a good one. Good
yeah,
one, Dan.
yeah.
Although I don't want the comments to turn into a pun contest, but I
Oh,
did appreciate that.
oh, if that was directed at me, oh, sweet baby Jesus, no. um, but one day, that's the dream.
And I love Joe's comment. It is very on brand for you. I
Yeah,
mean, it's a pun. I mean, it just works at so many levels.
it does.
It's great. And now, yeah, Lily, fearing for her review. Um, oh, a sensitivity reader for this book. Interesting.
Yeah, safe call.
Soil conservation is sexy. Uh,
Ron's calendar will be out
this is
next year.
tough. Yeah, this is tough because Nikki's really moving up. Nikki is really moving up the list of favorite Nickies. Um, well, I was born in the '60s, so I mean, if I am a closet hippie, I came by it legitimately. Well, now I wish. Okay, so Lily says that violence is kind of her bread. So now I wish we'd been nicer about the review of the book because that seems a little like a threat.
Yeah.
Um, oh, okay. So Joe did come through with instructions. There you go. And yes, thank you, Joe. Uh, well, you can.
There
Yeah,
are a
I don't.
variety of ways to imbibe this content.
That is true. There are multiple channels, but also even if you're watching on YouTube, you can follow that link and go there. Which I guess we should start putting up every time. Oh, let's just get rid of this comment right away.
Yeah,
That's
that's
ridiculous. Everybody should always listen to us.
we don't need that kind of negativity on our
Yeah,
negativity podcast.
yeah. Um, oh, I won't worry about anything. Um, I'm not sure what this means. Fingers. Is that what the part of the Care Bear they want to eat? I don't know. Or oh, the fingers would be made into the
Oh, a
calamari.
calamari,
Okay,
yeah.
that makes sense. It's yeah, that's tough. Again, I don't know Jersey. Um, I would agree that any seafood in Alabama does sound a little risky.
So the best seafood I've ever had in Montgomery, Alabama, comes out of a gas station. So, mm, mm.
Yeah, it does.
But
Although once you
they actually don't do calamari there because turns out, and this is I was in my late 20s before I learned this. Calamari is not considered seafood; it's considered Italian. So you find it commonly at Italian restaurants, but rarely at seafood restaurants.
oh, interesting. I'm just a fan of all fried
The more you
foods,
know.
so yeah, we're really learning some shit this episode. Oh, okay. All right.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
I hope that is on the back of the book because
Yeah,
that should be, below the blurb where you have the stuff that people say about the book. That
yeah.
should be in there.
That should be in all your ads.
Yeah, that should be your ad. My my editor tried counting the murders. She stopped. I mean, yeah, and I agree. That is very impressive. Um, I am, but because of my lack of consistency, I will say nice things about horror and murder and serial killers, in a future show. That's just what's going to happen. Oh, I missed this one. Murder drinking game. That's a good idea.
Mhm. Always.
I love when they have kids who serial kill and they go, no problem. We don't need to get you serious help. I'll show you how to be a better kid. Oh, that's
That
nice. That is
that
nice.
yeah, families coming together.
Family's the most important thing. Uh-oh. Like a
No,
feud.
look, no, I will 100% agree with that statement. The older I get, the more I realize that Metallica is just hard rock. Uh, like from Black Album on, it's pretty much just hard rock. They get occasionally thrashy, but it's really Black Album. I listen to it now. It's like this isn't really metal. So,
This comment's
ooh
for you.
yeah, I'm gonna have to go
Yeah.
read those.
Yeah.
That is the best.
Which series is it? She didn't say which one.
I think it's safer now that Baby Metal came out. Although I think people get a lot of hate for liking Baby Metal. I mean, I don't like them, but I don't hate people who do. So, um,
That is what I mean. That is always what I mean. And this is a very impressive comment.
to be
Your
fair,
tongue
my
is an
tongue was
affront to
probably
God.
already an affront to God.
Well,
So,
doubly so now. Always punch nuts. That's nice. I like that. I like grammar Nazis. I mean, so I guess not all Nazis are bad if grammar Nazis is a thing, because man, when I'm reading, do I get annoyed by some things.
that's fair. That's fair. It's a wonder I'm still engaged at this point.
Don't don't invite Nikki Nelson Hicks to the wedding. That would be awesome. Does it feel like I'm writing everybody's books for them?
Yeah.
Because it does to me. Nazis make good mulch. That's a good idea. You know, in Washington State where I live, mulching is legal for human beings. So once you're dead, I mean, you got it after you die. Not
Yeah.
You're not supposed to do it when the people are alive. So, oh, Daniel Myers must have followed
Ooh.
the process and actually done it.
Thank you, Daniel.
Yeah, that's very nice. He's a good guy.
Look, I
Ooh,
am a gas station connoisseur. You can always tell, like, first off, most of the gas stations around here have an all beef Frank, which, let's be real, if your hot dog's not all beef, you're messing up. But I love it when they've been on the roller for like a good like 6 to 12 hours, and they get that like hard, almost crunchy outer casing from the heat lamps and the heat rollers and everything.
oh
Oh,
yeah.
you just bite into that. The crispness of your hot dog as you bite it. Mm.
So I've never done it
Mm.
because I'm too chicken. But is there moisture inside when you take the bite and you crack the shell of the
Yeah,
hot
there
dog
there
so that
tends to be a thin bit of moisture down the middle that hasn't been leached from it.
you're rewarded with drops of something?
Yeah, yeah,
Nice.
no, it's fantastic. I love a good gas station dog.
It looks like we need to have a show that is just a murder drinking game.
Yeah.
You know, a murder drinking game show. Um, oh, and Lily did say it's her paranormal detective series. So this is
Okay.
a spin-off. So the main series we need to read now.
Yeah, I
And
remember reading that in the intro that it was like, hey, this is features spin-off characters. So
this is an interesting idea because I do create multiple kinds of mulch. So I'm gonna have to think about this.
you can get on
Um,
the horror author's good side by writing the book of Cannibal Mulch.
that's true.
Ron,
And then there could be a companion.
Ron, me and you, we road trip to each other on Go Indie Now, sampling gas station food along the way, and we meet somewhere in Middle America.
That is a terrifying uh, idea for me because of I'm like, so I would need to buy like Depends, you know, or something so that I could keep driving while I'm having diarrhea and other awful things happening.
After the
Um,
after the seventh or eighth stop, your stomach will become hardened and inured
oh,
to the toxicity of gas station food.
I like that.
Mm.
Um, yeah, it seems can it it boy, we've got some really great marketers. You know,
Yeah,
forcing indie authors, you know, being forced to market their own work, it really does, you know, create some great marketers all around.
yeah.
All right. Um, Let me get back here. Oh, I need this stuff. Um, Well, thank you again. And thanks to Bob McGough. Please buy all 4 and soon to be 5 of his books. Go to his website, give him money however you can. He's
Yeah,
getting married. He's got a new family to support now. So, you know, but
yeah,
we're going to say goodbye to Bob for now. So thanks for being here.
yeah.
Um,
Fun as always.
there'll be the formal thanking in the outro, but this is a preemptive pre-thanking. All right. See you later. All right. So there is something new for Mean Reviews here in season 2. Each episode, after we review the 2 indie projects, which were books today, if you did not notice, I'm also going to give the same treatment to a famous non-indie book, movie, TV show, album, etc., for some variety. Today, I will be reviewing the TV show Peacemaker by James Gunn and starring John Cena. Uh, Picking up where the movie The Suicide Squad from 2021 left off, Peacemaker returns home after recovering from his encounter with Bloodsport, only to discover that his freedom comes at a price. That's the blurb for the show on IMDb. Um, so I'm going to start with things I like, following our normal setup. Uh, Call me old fashioned, but I like my superheroes to actually have superpowers. I'm not sure being super violent is an actual superpower. And although compared to me, John Cena's muscles are akin to a superpower, I think he's just a normal guy, a gigantic normal guy with cool guns and helmets. He's still just a guy. Hopefully, Mr. Gunn is open to sincere, constructive criticism, and next season, Peacemaker will get bit by a radioactive spider or something, or fall in a vat of radioactive or nuclear waste and be able to shoot something out of his eyes like a laser or deadly insults, something. I mean, you're the genius, Mr. Gunn, so I'll leave it in your capable hands. But for now, Peacemaker gets 0 out of nearly unlimited super abilities. So I'm going to move into things I don't like. If I hadn't already said that serial killing was a thing I don't like this episode, I might have used that here. But Peacemaker does have a good goal, peace. And he is often just following orders, which as a serious rule follower, I totally get. So he may not technically be a serial killer. So I'm going to go with that I don't like how insecure Peacemaker is. He's got the daddy issues, and then all the insults about the other superheroes. It doesn't bother me so much with Batman, who's just a normal guy with loads of money, or Green Arrow, who's another rich guy but has a bow and arrows. But Aquaman, the Flash, even Wonder Woman, get some counseling, Peacemaker. That would make a good episode, probably. Another free idea for season 2, Mr. Gunn. I'm here to help. For now, for season 1, I give Peacemaker 0 being at peace with himself out of 72. Now, things I like about the show that I can share without ruining the plot. Well, obviously, like every other sane person on the planet, I love the opening musical number. I drive my wife nuts by watching it often on YouTube. It is amazing. Thank you so much for that, Mr. Gunn and the entire cast. Well done. I got HBO Max mostly just because of how awesome that intro was after seeing it on YouTube. I also loved Amanda Waller's daughter, great character to watch, and really all of the other characters, even though none of them had superpowers. Um, I also continue to be impressed by John Cena's acting. I mean, he was great in Trainwreck. I mean, so great. And now as Peacemaker, and maybe other things that I'm forgetting due to my advanced age and family history of dementia. But he has been a revelation. So ultimately, I give Peacemaker by James Gunn, starring John Cena and a bunch of other people, 1/5 of a star because there is so much potential. Let's just hope Mr. Gunn watches this review and takes it to heart. All right, let's look at the comments one last time. There's a few more. Um, oh, that's sweet. Goodbye, Bob. Adios. He has a huge ego. I I was trying to figure out who that was referencing. Peacemaker does. Yeah, and of course, serious daddy issues. Oh my gosh, now even Bob himself, the co-host, has gotten into the comments. Amazing. Well, that's super. Golems are super, I think. Hey Bob, Oh, everybody was lucky to sit through your awesome jokes. Um, and yeah, I mean, Alan, no way. Alan Tudyk choreographed it? Wow. Now I like it even more. Big Alan Tudyk fan. Or Tudyk. Depends on how you, I don't know. Bob, you are adorable. I love your jokes. Me too. Well, that is a great point that Nikki brings up here. I had not considered that. Oh no. Oh no. One last pun before the show ends. Oh, I do love those. Oh, I do love them. All right. Well, that's really all there is to the show. Um, we'll just have my weekly wrap up outro, and then we're done. So thank you, everybody. Here you go.
Thank you for joining me for another episode of Mean Reviews, No Stars Given. Please like this show and subscribe to the Go Indie Now channel. The first order of business is to thank this week's co host,
Bob McGough.
As usual, you were fantastic. How did I get so lucky? God only knows. Please buy all of their work because they so richly deserve it. I can't wait until you come over so I can make you a meal from ingredients we grow in our gigantic garden. See you soon. And to the two indie writers, filmmakers, musicians, or whatever who trusted me to review your work with all the respect it deserves, thank you very much. I appreciate your boundless optimism. So,
For the Game of War, The Trials of Dantes, Warrior Priest, The Chronicles of Chaos, Book 1, by Glenn Dahlgren.
and also,
For Never Again, a World War II paranormal detective spin-off by Lily Lucchesi.
thank you so very much. Please buy all of their stuff to reward them for their bravery. And remember,
It's always time to go indie now.